Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Equity Revolution podcast. Today I'm in Cape Town with a special guest. Don't worry, he's going to introduce himself. I just want to greet you all in South Africa and all over the other parts of the world and also in Belgium. Dames en heren in België, jammer genoeg vandaag, we zullen alleen maar alles in het Engels doen. Want in Zuid-Afrika meestal mensen begrijpen of verstaan alleen maar Engels. Maar overal in de wereld, ik hoop dat jullie zullen samen alles doen met ons hier. Ladies and gents, without wasting your time, hopefully you are watching wherever you are. I am Zukisa Nante and your host today, and I'm with this beautiful gentleman here. What I want from you before we can start is to subscribe below and follow us, and should you have any comments, please send them through, and then I can ask this gentleman to explain wherever you have questions. As for the rest, let's just start and not wasting your time. Sir, how are you?
I'm good, ZN.
Yes, that's it. I need money. I need sponsors. I don't need money.
As it's Zukisa.
Yes, that's Zukisa Nante, that's me.
All right.
And there's a Mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful t-shirt. Actually, it's funny because I'm using them. I don't sell them. But whoever wants to buy to support the podcast, I always do that. And I don't know, what is 50 euros in 1,000? Something like that, but it can be negotiable. This
Euros is about 18, 19 today.
18, 19, so that will be 1,000 something. But anyways, it sounds expensive in rands, right?
No, it is. It is a good price. You know, we can see it's good quality.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is, and it's very strong, and you can wash it and whatever. It always stays there.
Doesn't phase out.
Bagaetsu, remote Cape Town. Ntate ukamo re tla shifta the languages sizawuthetha isiXhosa sizawuthetha isilungu sizawuthetha yonke into tata kuphuma kuwe xa sifuna ukukhumsha sizakhumsha
welcome
xa sifuna uthetha isiXhosa sifuna isisuthu kuphuma kuthi basawuthini na
ulungile
tata njani manje kubamba isandla tata
ikhona tata
sikhona
akho nto man
ewe man
yeah no ndiyabulela ngethuba osinika lona into kokuba siphefumle ngale topic as to indlela esibona ngayo in South Africa today.
Yes.
Yeah, well, one would look at the social angle, one would look at...
You know what's funny?
Yeah,
sorry, I'm cutting you there. I'm thinking as we are talking.
Yeah.
I think you should sit here.
Okay.
And sit there.
All right.
Because it's your interview, not mine.
All right.
And when you speak to me, you come on the side of the camera. But if
no
I'm here, then we're going to see more.
No problem. That with teacher, so once a teacher, always a teacher.
Yes, that's true.
I like prepared on
yes.
You can speak from the heart, but we need to be factual as well.
Yes. All right. What I want from you, we're going to go back a little bit.
All right.
Is to start from the beginning.
Okay.
Go to Dada Ungubani and what Dada does, whatever you want to say. But for the people, those who don't know at home, that they do know you, a little bit of you. What's your name? Who are you? Whatever. Yes.
All right. My name is Mphuthumi Bhudlu. I was born in Cape Town at the Peninsula Hospital, but I grew up in the Eastern Cape, where my parents are from. So I am from the Eastern Cape. I'm an ex-educator, but that hasn't faded because part of what I'm doing is also part of the education space. I am an executive member of BFASA, Black Farmers Association of South Africa.
Black Farmers Association of South Africa. And yet I'm not a farmer, and I'm black. You forgot about me, I think.
No, well, we have to, if you're speaking about diversification, you are talking about specific levels. In fact, not levels, but specific topics. I would be more passionate about agriculture. Generally, I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, that's the topic that's close to my heart. That's where your topic today is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that's where I am zoning in So, an entrepreneur, a farmer, an educator. Once an educator, always an educator.
All right.
Basically.
All right. Don't worry about me. I'm always gonna take you back and forth.
Yeah, it's okay.
The reason for that is just to clarify some things.
All right.
You said you're an educator, you're an entrepreneur, you are a farmer, you are. What else? Am I forgetting something?
Yeah, well,
Probably a father too.
I'm a father.
Yes,
I'm a
you see,
husband.
that's very important. You're a husband, you're a father. I see that. So
Yes,
now that thank you very much for joining us. And can you do me something before we continue? Can you tell the listeners at home to subscribe and follow the podcast?
Listeners, beautiful listeners, please subscribe to this podcast under the ZN Studios, because with that, he'll be able to spread the word throughout the globe. So as we understand South Africa's space in terms of where we are socially, where we are in terms of development. Remember, we come from the past. We come from a terrible past. So how far are we 30 years down the line? And the only way to get this message through is through you to press that like button, to subscribe, to support the ZN Studios, the podcast in general.
The Equity Revolution podcast. That's what he means, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
Equity.
The Equity Revolution.
A revolution
podcast.
Podcast.
Yes.
Yes, we are revolutionizing.
Yes.
It's a tongue twister.
Yes, it's a tongue twister.
Revolutionizing.
All right. So that just to brief you a little bit, we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And I don't want you to think about those terms as to are the words that you want to explain individually. Mm-hmm. I want us to just flow in and find what you choose, what you want to talk about.
Okay.
What is important is to understand that you do understand them as an individual.
Yes.
And do you think that we do have them, and what could be the differences between them, and what are the similarities? For instance, now I'll say, before I come to your work, I'll just want first to see these three words that you understand, and then I'm gonna come to your work. Okay. I'm gonna say now. Let's start with diversity. Do we have diversity? Is it enough? Is there something that you think we can do to make it better? Because the idea also to see what works in your world that doesn't work in the other. It could be the other side of the world. It could be my world, not yours, your space, not my space. So it's not exactly about the world as in further parts of the world. It could be here. So then when we do have that, then it's easy to come to a discussion, not a discussion per se, but to understand you and your logic of thinking. So diversity, what does it mean to you? Do you understand it? Does it work? Is it there? Whatever topic you want to choose, or you're going to talk about family-wise, whatever, same thing.
Well, my understanding of diversity is having different backgrounds. Looking at the past, where we come from, where it was only one homogeneous group that was catered for by the system.
Yes.
But now, 30 years down the line, we call, for instance, black Africans in general, they've been, we call them today previously disadvantaged.
Yes.
And, some of us feel that we are still disadvantaged. So we don't see enough diversity in terms of race, in terms of gender.
Yes.
And other aspects. So diversity to me, in terms of entrepreneurship,
Yes.
should be reflected in our society. Okay, in terms of equity, employment equity, in terms of from an agricultural point of view. many of the farmers that are getting more support are big commercial farmers, which is mostly white. Okay, your small.
So what is commercial farmers to somebody who doesn't understand the term commercial? Yeah. What do you mean about that?
Commercial farmers is mostly previously advantaged and still advantaged white farmers who supply your big retailers, who export, and who have a turnover of over 10 million a year.
Yes.
10 million and above a year. So it's mostly people who have already been in the space.
And the term commercial, what does it mean in that context?
The term commercial means that you are farming in order to sell to big retailers, in order to be able to export. Okay, you've got the capacity in terms of, for instance, if you're selling chickens, broilers, for instance, a retailer, one of the retailers would want you to supply 20,000 chickens every week, but that's a big commercial farmer that can be able to do that. But a small farmer and a subsistence farmer won't be able to do that.
And I like what you just said. You said mostly white.
Mostly white. We do have black commercial farmers. Very few, I must say. Hence, diversity has not yet applied to many of us.
To that space.
To that space, yes. Definitely. And looking in every space, actually.
What do you think could be the problem?
Well,
or the challenge that we're still lacking a number of other diversities in that space?
Well, it's because we've got a very good constitution, which is applauded, internationally. We've got good laws that need to address the diversity part of things. But I think we lack the political will, or we lack the enforcement, because you need to enforce these laws for them to be applicable.
Yes.
Because now you can't be talking about people living under $1 a day today in South Africa. South Africa is quite rich, but now.
You mean rich in diversity or rich in
resources?
Okay.
For everyone to participate, but it's only a few. Even in the incumbent of black economic empowerment,
yes,
it's only a few that have managed to really see, the diversity in terms of resources.
Would it be correct to say that what I've heard from you is that we have diversity but not enough in the space?
Yes.
But then I hear you talk about the white commercial farmers.
Yeah, predominantly white commercial. You do have black commercial farmers, but probably under 5%.
So I'm thinking now, maybe before I say what I think, maybe I should come to equity. The difference,
yes,
or the similarity of equity now and diversity to what you just explained to us. Is the word familiar to you?
Yes, equity is when, for instance, on an entrepreneur point of view, all right, when government projects, for instance, are given out to the people, then and also you find your private institutions. When you look up there, it's not equitable enough. That means there's no balance in terms of you only see a lot of a specific race group, not another race group getting, for instance, we've got the ideas, but we don't have the equity to start and make those ideas practical, because we lack capital. So there is no equity in, through some of us. Okay. For instance, with the ideas in agriculture that we have when we started Black Farmers Association, we thought by now BFASA was established 5-6 years ago, but still I'm still called a small farmer because I don't have access to equity. Okay, and then I will remain in the periphery for a very long time to come, unless I knock very hard. These policies are there, but as I said initially, there's no enforcement. It actually, I have to know someone in that department to be able to get the finance, National Empowerment Fund, CFA, and all of those, the grants, all of those projects. It's very difficult to have access.
Now at your age now, what advice would you give that little boy of 8 years old, of 10 years old of you today, in the space that you are in today, an advice that you would give according to the things that you have seen so far? What advice would you give that little boy who wants to follow this path that you have taken?
I think it is much better to fight in numbers. BFASA is a lobby group. We speak in numbers. It's easier to make enough noise in terms of getting there. So by getting into these lobby groups as a young person today, it would take you less steps to get there than going on your own. So I would advise them to go into these lobby groups, take membership, and let us fight the fight for you. For instance, in the medical cannabis space, SAPRA only catered for those with capital, because before you can get any license, you need to have a structure. It's a medical cannabis, so it should be indoors. That structure, you will not build that structure less than 30 million, and yet no bank will finance you, no government will finance you. Okay?
I love this. I love this.
Because this is still a new space, and South Africa has got a perfect climate to grow cannabis. Okay, but now it's not easy to get into the space until you must have a structure. There's no guarantee that you'd get a license. Where are you going to get it? No investor will come through to you if you don't have something they can hold on to, because it's like a pipe dream. So we had to lobby as BFASA to SAPRA and say, listen, you've got to meet us halfway, because mostly, again, the people that will be able to raise this capital to build these structures, it's mostly white people who have got the old money, and us, it's going to be very difficult. You've got now your legacy growers, from Mphuthumi. They are not part of the cannabis, cannabis laws. It's done through those high towers, yes, where it's only catered for those who have finance or those who have got capital. Hence, as a lobby group, we asked for a pre-license. A pre-license would be 75%. Okay. Now, with 75%, I don't have the license. 25% would only be the structure. So someone will come in and invest because I've got 75% in. Okay, so it will be easy in that sense to raise funds, for that. And BFASA has got one of the structures in Atlantis, where the structure is, it was, the last time I checked, it was in the up of 38 million rands. And that policy through SAPRA has actually left the majority of the people of this country.
Wow, that's too much information.
So there's no diversity in that sense, there's no equity in that sense, and there is no inclusion, because you spoke about these three things.
Yes, tell me about inclusion. What is lacking there?
Well, if you are building, you're trying to have diversity, you've got to include everyone, right? You've got to include all of these structures by creating spaces for those who were not in that space. That is inclusion. Hence the attempt on the black economic empowerment. But I said, well, there's a lot to be desired, in terms of that, because it only benefited a few who were very close to power. That is the truth, and we cannot hide that, anymore. Yeah, because we have, people are crying out there, we are on the ground, we voted hoping that we will be included in the economic system. We have voted.
What did we vote for?
Well, I voted for a political party that I grew up, fighting with,
So you mean we voted we voted our government? That's what
we voted our government.
Okay, yes. So I'm just gonna take you back. Too much has been said.
Yeah, no.
Too much has been said, and I
don't ask me to speak. I will.
No. I know. Because I'm curious about the space, because it's a beautiful space.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking now, when you talk about, is that BFASA, right?
Yeah.
Is it all over South Africa now? Or?
And BFASA does not only say
black.
There's only exclusion of other races.
It's for everybody.
White people. There are some white people who are members of BFASA.
Okay, and those are the. Okay, I'm not going to use the word I wanted to use now because it's going to sound very weird. Those are the ones, the white people that are there, are the previously privileged white people as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they've got an advantage in terms of access to information. So they said, look, we want to help with the information that we have.
Yes.
To try and bring diversity.
Yes.
Okay. To try and bring inclusion.
Yes.
Okay. Because through diversity is our strength.
Yes.
And equity is our fairness. Equitably, fairly.
Yes.
And also inclusion is our opportunity.
Yes.
All of us, black and white. Black includes African, Indian, colored.
In South Africa.
In Zanzibar, yes.
It's funny that you are mentioning these things, because I'm thinking to myself now, as we know...
I'm getting warm up here. I'm getting warm.
I hear that. As we understand, and you're putting everything there on the table. But how do we challenge these? Because these are the challenges you're talking about. But how do we approach these to solution?
Well, the solution was to have a lobby group. We went to sit down with SAPRA, for instance, on the medical cannabis, and then a solution came out. We got pre-licenses, hence we got a structure here in the Western Cape, a BFASA structure here in the Western Cape, because we are solutions driven. We can't be, squealing all the way. We bringing solutions. We're bringing these things forward. Okay, all we need is a political will to take these things, because we want to work with government, because we can't do anything without government. There's these funds that are there, but they must be distributed equitably.
Yes.
All right. For instance, you've got, I see other provinces, Eastern Cape, where I come from, for instance,
Yes.
There's a lot of young people, with tractors, ladies, driving tractors, So we are slowly getting there, but it's not quick enough, because it's 30 years and we can't be having excuses. The Free State, KZN, Gauteng, you see, these shoots, okay? But now, I'm not sure about the Western Cape, if the Western Cape is... How many commercial black farmers in the Western Cape? portrait, not straight up.
Yeah,
No landscape.
But yeah, no landscape. Maybe I should use those terms.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm at 2000.
that one, yeah. No comments. I'll leave it there. Compliments.
Yeah, that's a compliment, by the way. Hello.
Yes. So I hear that you're saying that the Western Cape, because now you separated provinces to what you just said, that some are a little bit advanced, some are lacking a little bit. And now my question was also about the BFASA. If is it something, an organization, is it in Cape Town only, is all over South Africa? Because that part was not clear. And now that you are saying other provinces are moving forward a little bit better, what is lacking in the Western Cape?
Okay. Firstly, when BFASA came into being, it was myself and a friend of mine, Dr. Mphuthumi. We were renting a farm at Hopefield. This farm was from government, given to a gentleman. Unfortunately, I've got to separate, a colored gentleman. We realized
a colored
gentleman.
Why do we still use the coloreds?
Yes, because this is what is happening.
I understand this.
There's over 200 million that was coming from national government.
Yes.
For black empowerment in terms of agriculture.
Aren't colors black?
Yes, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. Now, when this thing comes down, you are supposed to have all blacks in the Western Cape. Okay? And then blacks were just put into small gardens. Okay? In Khayelitsha there, in small gardens. But our black counterparts, colored and Indians, were the ones that were getting, these farms, and then we're wondering why.
So
because you don't see many Africans.
Indians and coloreds now
we're more
getting more.
We're more.
What year are we talking about here?
Well, from the beginning,
which is 1994.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You see more colored commercial farmers and Indian commercial farmers than you would see African commercial farmers in the Western Cape. I'm trying to think very hard if we have African commercial farmers in Western Cape.
Because now you are trying.
Because I am right there. Then that's when we started. Look, let's have BFASA. Let's lobby.
Are you a commercial farmer yourself?
I'm still a small commercial farmer.
But
until I went back to the Eastern Cape to try and find land.
So are you saying to me that because I like this? Are you saying the colored, the Indians, they are more privileged than the African? Well, but when you say African, I'll be clear, you're talking about the black people.
The black people.
Because according to me, coloreds are Africa.
Remember, during the apartheid, there was the tricameral parliament.
Yes.
Where there were no Africans in that parliament.
Yes.
Okay. This continued. This still continued throughout. Even after our current government took over. I mean, ANC took over. Okay, this thing was still going on. All right, in the Western Cape. And when you go to these conferences, these agricultural conferences, myself and my friend that formed Dr. Mphuthumi, that we formed BFASA, we were talking about 10,000-day-old chicks. And when you're sitting in the table and listening to these guys, no, listen, I've got 400,000 chickens, that I'm growing, as broilers and stuff like 10,000, and then you want to hide, under the table, what is 10,000? When are you going to be a commercial farmer if you're looking at 10,000?
Something just disturbed me. I'm not going to go away from it. I'm going to come back to you. Because when you mentioned, I still want to go into this. You noticed the coloreds, the Indians, being privileged than the African people and the black people. Now that, to me, takes me back again to the times of apartheid, because we had that in the past. Why today?
Hence the whatever parliament,
Yes.
where there's the white colored Indian, basically. It started when when these guys came into being, your colored ministers, your colored, your Indian.
Do you think that term is correct? Actually, let's just talk about the color term. Do you think it's correct?
I don't know. I speak.
Because
they can speak for themselves, but we are blacks. All of us are blacks.
Yes,
but
yes.
The blacks there's blacks, Africans, Indians, and coloreds.
All right,
that's a fact.
No. Let's.
If one doesn't want to be called colored, for instance, you lift your hand up. I can't speak for colored people.
Yes, of course.
Okay, I can only speak for African people.
Yes.
But looking at diversity, BFASA, for instance, is a diversified lobby group.
Who's an African? Maybe we should start there. Who's an African?
An African is he who is born from Africa. He has a black skin. For instance, myself, for my being born, it didn't have to be someone from Europe to have influenced my being born. I was born by the Aborigines of Africa. Okay, we've got for instance, in the southern Africa, in the southern Cape, you've got the Khoi and the San. We come from the north. We tracked down because we were mostly farmers. We were looking for greener pastures. The first people, for instance, the clan Amambondo were the first to have interacted with the San, okay, in the Eastern Cape, and the Khoi in the Western Cape.
Are the Khoi Sans coloreds or not colored?
No, they are the Khoi and the San.
They are the Khoi and the San, and
now
the coloreds.
The colored is the mix of
the Khoi and the San.
No, it's the mix of the white and the Khoi.
So are you saying
white and the black?
Does that also come to the color of their skin?
Not necessarily.
Or just about their culture?
It's about the mix part of it.
Because today
because colored is the mixed part of it.
Trevor Noah is colored.
Yebo.
But he's not called colored.
He's black.
Yes. Why is that?
Every colored people are called black because they are in the group black.
But in South Africa, we have colored, we have blacks, we have whites, we have Indians, we have whatever. In everything you feel in South Africa, our constitution, you recognize coloreds, you recognize blacks, you recognize whites. There's no way it says they are recognized as black. Okay.
No, they are recognized as blacks. But now in blacks you have African, you've got colored, you've got Indian.
Why are they coloreds? Why Trevor Noah is not called colored? Because if then we're looking
Trevor
at
Noah is colored, he's a mixed race.
Yeah, but he's not called as such.
Well, that's maybe it's because he grew up in the black township. I don't know.
So it's about culture then, being colored. It's about culture.
Yeah.
So would you say someone who's born in Africa is an African? Regardless of being white, blue, black, Chinese, but is an African.
Someone born in Africa is an African.
Exactly.
But now we need to zoom in.
Aren't the problems of zooming in giving us the challenges we are facing today?
You see, if we don't do that, then we will not be able to identify the diversity, the equity, and the inclusion. Because now, when I spoke about funds coming from national government for blacks, I would not have noticed that my blacks are excluded in the picture.
Guys, you heard that. That's very important. Continue, sir. He noticed that, and I love the fact that he's saying he noticed it because he was black. Sir,
he is black.
He is still black.
Yeah.
He hasn't changed yet. So is I. I don't know what we talk about when we talk about black people, but we're black here. Say, continue there. I love this part. So when you notice that we were excluded, that's when you started to say, you know what? I need to find another way of challenging this. BFASA was there. Then now you are saying you have colors, you have blacks, you have whites, everybody in the BFASA thing. How to join the BFASA as a person like me who doesn't have means, finances, resources, like you said that in some of the things you must have some certain some money to get something. Now I'm just a poor black child from South Africa and I want to succeed. How do I go about this thing now?
You earlier on you brought in BFASA was established in the Western Cape.
Yes.
With a national footprint.
Yes.
So we are represented in all the other provinces.
Yes.
But we've got a small footprint in the Northern Cape.
Yes.
Okay. We've got a membership of 50,000 plus. Okay. And so to join BFASA, it's only 100 rands a month, 1,200 a year. And in many cases, we find people grouping themselves together. And then said, okay, take membership. You don't have to, even if we've got no support anyway, from government or whatever, from private entities, we are standing alone, okay? Not that we did not try to find support from government. We've lobbied, we've spoken to the relevant people in our culture, decision makers. Maybe they haven't seen what we are saying as such. They showed support, verbal support, and the new Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Nyonso, came into our place in Atlantis, and the previous ministers, we sat on the table. Minister Togo Didiza, for instance, on the table. They've never set foot on our place, and because we got the pre-license, we've managed to build a structure. Now that license structure, not all of us can be able to raise 30-40 million to build a structure. So to show government how to empower is to say, if you've got a tunnel that will grow under the auspices of this licensee, okay, have a structure that will cost you at least 800,000, 1.2 million, at least a group of people can be able to raise that, then you can build. That will cover everything, the plants, everything, and then this structure is going to, you'll have an agreement, an off-take agreement with this structure, okay? Because this structure has got off-take agreements, the bigger structure in Canada, in Australia, and so forth, okay? So that structure is not big enough, okay, to meet the off-take, okay? But now, if you're having a foot in the door through a tunnel, then it will be easier for you to raise 1.2 million than to raise the 40 million. And you still, this thing is, they buy the whole harvest. So a member of BFASA will bring his children. So you've got, what do we call it, wealth creation. generational wealth creation, because now Utata as the member will hand over to the children, and BFASA will provide you with a grower, an experienced grower, so that what is grown there meets, the SAPRA standards. Because now it is medicine. You cannot be playing games with medicine. Okay, hence the strict SAPRA regulations, which is fine. Okay, but our bone of contention is to enter into the space is very difficult for a majority of people in this country. All right, and
what causes that? The money.
It's the equity. There's no equity, complete. There's no equity.
Yes.
Now there are spaces. For instance, your NEFs, your CFAs, your IDCs, they can get into the space. Like they're getting into solar energy and the wind energy and stuff like that. IDC is providing equity, for those companies, and mostly Development Corporation.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Bank of South Africa, Development Bank of South Africa, DBSA. For instance, they should come in. Okay. Yes. Medical cannabis. Here's the supply. For instance, we've got retailers, big retailers in the townships. None of us are supplying there because we don't have the capacity to supply there. What goes into the townships goes out. Okay, the biggest opportunity is the township economy. Billions are getting out of the township without developing the townships. Okay, so there's no diversity here.
What do you mean they're getting out of the township?
Yes.
We talk about the real money here.
Yes.
What type?
All right. How much is one retailer getting out of the township economy? It's billions.
What do we talk about when we talk about the retailer here?
The retailer is, I don't want to mention their names.
No, not names, but just in terms of what is a retailer?
Those supermarkets.
Yes.
Those big supermarkets that are in the townships. Okay, the suppliers are outside the township. Okay?
That's what, yes.
The suppliers are outside the townships. Okay? What they provide in the township is job opportunities. That and that. But the real economic benefits are out and now the township.
And again, the people that are in retail there, not getting enough pay. They don't get paid enough. Because everyone I've seen, probably people that are in retail, I'll come there having whatever job that I'm having. They are there to help you, right? But hardly you see some of them living in a space whereby you'd say, this person probably is making it, but the company is making it through them.
Most of the employees,
is that what I should understand to that statement?
Yes, most of the employees in that space, in the township retail business, are still living in shacks, in RTB houses. They cannot get out.
So the big companies also, because these are big companies we're talking about.
Of course, big retailers. The top 4, for instance.
Yes.
Okay. One big retailer sourced funding from government to develop a franchise, for the previously disadvantaged. But that structure was formed only to benefit the big retailer.
Yes.
As a result, people were left with big debts. That thing couldn't last for 2 years, for 3 years. Now all of a sudden you're left with a big debt. Okay, because this thing is skewed towards the big retailers.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
But now you have government, which is supposed to be for the people. Okay, now when I will always go back to the medical cannabis, when this was formulated, the presidency is there, all of these are there in that group. But how did this thing go through with you guys there? How did you allow such things? How do you allow? We understand. I know, for instance, white people fight for white people. White political parties fight for white political parties. You can take along, because you want a number of votes, and you realize the number of votes, more votes are in the black spaces. Okay, you can use them, but your fundamental interests are your own. But why can't our government do the same for us? Why can't you fight for me? For instance, in the public sector, I don't know, it's the apartheid mentality, right, or something. Because when I see a white person, I would want to help the white person first and stun the person that looks like me. For instance, if you're entering the N1, and then at the Cape Winelands, you see those fuel service stations. If I come there, and these guys are sitting there seeing that, okay, it's a black guy, they won't jump. But if it's a white guy, maybe because we don't tip, we do tip. Hello, we do tip even in restaurants. We do pay at least 10% of the tips. But those guys, they will take time if they see a black guy. So it's self-hate, which has been into our space for a very long time. So it's not easy to root out the apartheid. It's a mental indoctrination. So that is why we have lobby groups that will show our people that, listen guys, let us, if you are up, let me try and pull you up, not pull you down because you look like me. Okay? That is the stuff we need to work with. Now it makes it easier. It makes it easier for the haves to say, okay, they're doing this, okay, let them do it. You're doing it for them. You're doing it for them.
Yes.
Which is very sad.
I see you got very emotional there when you talk about these subjects, and I can understand how heavy they are. I think you and I, we can stay for hours talking about all these things, but because of time that we have, I'm going to ask you one thing. That too, actually, but I'm going to ask you one thing first. Out of all that you've mentioned, I want you to advise me. Now we dwell more, we looked at South Africa now more. So I would say a young man sitting at home watching this podcast today, what advice would you give them, and how do you see these challenges strategized or tackled to make sure that that young person won't come to the same challenges as you today? After that, I will have one question for you, but it will be the switch from being a teacher to what you are doing. From there, I want to come to a conclusion to give us advice as South Africans generally. So the first thing is to advise that young man watching, so that that young man won't take this or won't be in the same space.
The young man and the woman, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the second one would be you, from teaching to the space that you are at today.
All right.
And the last one.
For my thought process, let's start it one by one, because
yes, we're gonna start one by one.
Thinking process.
I won't forget.
I got emotional.
I'm just giving you.
I'm gonna digress, go on a tangent. And,
yes, and then I'm gonna cut you because then you're gonna take another hour.
So, young man, young woman.
Yes.
There are a lot of opportunities in South Africa, and we've learned our lessons. My advice to you, is inform yourselves. Educate yourselves. don't give up. Because we see on social media a lot of young people saying enough is enough. I am going out there. Whatever you think is possible, it is possible. You can do it. Never give up. Go for it. Especially on something that you feel passionate about. Okay? You love what you're doing. You don't have to be so educated because there's also challenges in the education as well. We can't always be complaining. Okay? Let's tie our bootstraps. Go forward. There's a lot of hurdles. Let's jump over those hurdles. If the mind sees it, if the mind thinks it is possible, then it is possible. You've got so many people, especially from poor backgrounds, who have made it with nothing. Our forebears have shown us. It was not even fashionable to have technical skills, to have a degree, but our forebears managed to go through all of those things. So let's not give up. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of peer pressure. But if you remain focused, I think you zoom in, you focus, then...
You heard him, guys. You stay focused. Peer pressure is there. It will always be there. But what do you do about it? That's up to you. I'm talking to you, a young man and a young lady at home now. But before we continue again about that subject, because I'm still going to invite him. I don't know when, how, but I think we're going to have another podcast very soon. It's either it's going to be online or it's going to be here while that I'm still in South Africa. We'll see about that. Sir, thank you very much for that. That was a very powerful speech, I think. I think anyone who's there listening today will have to think twice.
Thank you.
The second one is you, and please make it shorter, that one. We have young people who want to be teachers still, and you are a retired teacher now, you said. You came to a space of business. Don't answer if it's too personal. I'm just going to ask to say, as a teacher, moving away to the space where you're at now, are there any differences economically? Or was it a passion of you to say, I want to do that? Or was it also an economical drive to say, I want more, I want change? Because I'm saying this very carefully. My sister is a teacher. She always mentions, I don't get paid much, I don't get this, I don't get this, I don't get that. And looking at other professionals who have the same degrees as you, that they will get more because of different, I don't know what I'll say, because every degree is different. Like if you go to medical school, you do your 5 years, 2 bachelors, you are a doctor, you get more money like that. I go to engineering school, I do 4 years, I've got my degree, I got 2 years, 6 years to my master's degree, 6 years. But again, we still sometimes looked at differently. You are a teacher, you have your bachelor's, go to your honors, go to master's, whatever, but you're still gonna get paid less. Every professional you see, it's a work of a teacher. And that's something that I think sometimes we forget, how powerful, how helpful, how much do we need teachers to make the professions that we have today. So now with your experiences, can you please give us that brief change in career and understanding? I don't know if was it because you went on pension or was like you want to change the space?
Well, because in my time, there was no NSFAS, you had to be an A or a B student to have acquired a bursary to go to Wits, to go to UCT. And I was an average student. Although I did maths and science, I remember I went to Cape Technicum. I wanted to do an engineering study. I couldn't get in because the Cape Technicon was still white. Okay. I did not know about the Cape Peninsula.
Yes.
I grew up in the Eastern Cape at boarding school.
Yes.
Then went to tertiary here in the Western Cape. So, the tertiary. So closest to me was to go to teaching.
Yes.
Okay. That's when it was not because I was passionate about teaching. That's why I only could teach for 5 years. Okay.
Only 5 years.
The money was not enough.
And then you got tired of our kids, and they were like, "I want to leave them." They were teaching in primary or
They actually cried. I started at high school only for 3 months, but I was still young with my peers. I said, "Look,
I'm tired of this now."
No, these look like my peers, so they won't necessarily be listening to me. So I went to primary, 10, 11-year-olds. I love them to bits. They cried when I saying I was leaving, because I was enjoying it, but I wanted more. Okay, I wanted to get into AAA, School of Advertising, but I couldn't pay, for those studies with my teaching salary.
Yes.
Then I did sales and marketing. I did marketing at Damali. And I knocked. I started at Sanlam. Then from Sanlam I went to BMW. I was one of the first black sales executives at Four-Sticks Tiger Valley. In fact, there were two upper in the metro. It was myself and the other guy was at Auto Atlantic. May his soul rest in peace. He passed on. Yeah. So it was not passion, but an educator, a teacher is a very important job, because whoever anyone is today at a high level or very high level, they come through the hands of a teacher who was passionate.
Yes.
So I didn't want to rob my pupils by staying too long. Yeah. So you were asking, I became better off in terms of resources.
Yes.
Now I could drive big cars.
Yes.
I had a business.
Yes.
Okay.
You should take me to that space, because I want a business too, but I don't know how to start.
This is business, my brother.
Which one?
The podcast is a business.
Yes, I'm going to come to you there as a closure to that part. I'm waiting for that, because...
So you're in the media space. In the
guys, this is business. I don't have money, but I'm in business.
This is the creative space, that creative space, because more eyeballs on this podcast.
Please, guys, more eyeballs. You have more eyeballs. The last question was, you still remember? Now I get your point that we're gonna forget it. What was the last one? So I said the first one. Okay, the last one was to advise South Africans. Now you are concluding everything we talk about. I know you still have a lot to say, but now the spaces that you are in, your experience of life, work, economy, business, to those that would love to be in your space, or generally to South Africans, on how they can take things for themselves. Because sometimes we wait. For instance, as a South African, I'm taught to have a CV. I have to apply for a job. I get a job. Then I'm successful, whatever, depending how much I get. Other Africans or other parts of the world, some people are taught how to make money for themselves. Like when other Africans came to South Africa, if you remember from the beginning of 1994, they showed us that they were skillful, they can create, they can do a lot.
Yeah.
You saw someone in South Africa who was at varsity, studying either second or third year, having theory, going to practical, and then you find someone who went to technical college from other countries.
Yeah.
They were doing things that were like,
hands on.
Yes. So now I wanted to give us a conclusive advice in those DEI words, and also the understanding of how can we change or how can we approach the challenges of economy that we're having today in the space that you're having or in any space?
Look, firstly, your hands are tied if you're employed. You will always be complaining. Okay? Let us rather change into, let's be entrepreneurs, not tenderpreneurs, because there's a huge difference. An entrepreneur, you create wealth, you create jobs yourself, okay? And South Africa will be better off, okay? Let's invest more into TVET colleges, where, you know, our kids are learning the skills, plumbing, electrical, you know, for instance, we have, this thing was there, and you see a lot of, I will always come back, you know, it's a reality. Colored and Indian people have got more skills because they were driven in that direction. They will never go hungry because they can paint, they can do plumbing, they can put electricity. Let's push that into, because now our South Africans want to get these degrees, which is mostly theory. How do you go and do a degree in whatever, tourism, for instance, and stuff like that? And this economy wants electricity, wants plumbing, wants all of these things. Mm-hmm. That's what this economy wants. Okay, you can have your masters in education and go and teach. Okay, the economy is not going to absorb you. Hence, you've got so many graduates who are not unemployed. And you know, people are looking down to TVET colleges because they are not fully equipped as such. Okay, let's put more money into TVET colleges. Let's get South Africa working. Let's create jobs. Okay, there's a young lady there in the Eastern Cape. She's got a little space she created out of dumping area. She removed all of that dirt. She planted. She got, say, 1,000 cabbages, 1,000 heads of cabbages. If she could sell that for 25 rands, you know, do the math. You know, every time, you know, she harvests, you know, she's created jobs. Okay, she's employing herself. She's hardworking. Okay, this thing about you've got to be educated and have many degrees, but you can't create anything. Okay, I'm not despising education, by the way. I'm an educator. So. Yes. But I'm saying, listen, through education, let's have skills. Let's have skills, because if you got skills, nobody will say, get away. Because you can't be an electrician. Yes. I'm an electrician, so you are forced to use me. Or I will go out and, you know, because this tenderpreneur business is getting out of hand, and now people are going to jail because of that.
That's a different entrepreneurship now.
Yeah, no. Let's get the real entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Mzansi. Okay, and the international community is there to help us, you know, going forward. You know, the biggest retailers in Africa are the Ethiopians. Let's learn how they do it. You know, the spaza shops, these guys have taken that space. It's going to be very difficult to come in. I know the Minister of Trade has said there's 500 million for spaza shops. There's no way we'll get into that space if we haven't learned how that space is being.
Yeah. Wow. Ladies and gents, you heard. That's the advice that you are getting. So I hope that in this space you can also find your own path, and of course, should you have questions regarding what he had said, just comment on our podcast, and I'll get in touch, and your answers will be, your questions will be answered. But as a conclusion, I always ask this question: do you think it's a waste of time that I'm doing this podcast?
This time is quite valuable because you are bringing these things. People are assuming it's all hunky-dory, Mzansi, because we've been free for 30 years. You know, everything is, It's going smooth. Nothing is pashash. Nothing is pashash, I can tell you right now. Okay? The international community, come. Okay? If you bring in your multinationals in South Africa, let us have a stake into that. We want to work. We don't just want equity. We want to work as South Africans. But South Africans have built this country. I don't know why people are saying the things they are saying. Okay.
So you think this podcast has a chance to succeed?
Yes, this podcast,
the message to the people.
This podcast, I think it is succeeding. I've been following the podcast, and
You've been following the podcast?
Of course.
Did you hear before?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been following.
Mphuthumi introduced me to the podcast. Your friend.
Yes.
Yeah, and I followed, and wow, this young man from Mzansi is flying the flag, which is good. Is flying the flag, so that people don't have misconceptions. There's no genocide in South Africa, okay? Black and white people are trying to make it, and that's a fact. Black and white people are trying to make it. They're trying to build this country, you know.
I'm emotional now. Yes.
Well, you should be.
Now it's my turn now. I'm emotional. I want to cry now myself. But sir, I just want to say thank you for everything, and it was a very informative and very challenging podcast. You know why I'm saying it's challenging? Because you have so much knowledge and there's too much questions coming, and that's why I'm saying I think we're going to have a follow-up, because I think we as South Africans and other people, Africans or other people all over the world, there's too much to learn, because the subjects that we talked about, they are not only South African problems, they're world or global problems. But of course, every country is different. So I would say thank you very much. And something else before I thank you. Can you please tell people to subscribe and follow our podcast, and of course support the BFASA.
Ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe, like first, subscribe, support. You know, support is putting your feet on the ground, walk the walk. Out of that, South Africa is going to be a better place. The world is going to be a better place.
Yes.
All of us, we need each other right now. Let's build. Because if you build South Africa, you build Zimbabwe, you build, throughout from Cairo. Okay, because, I don't want to talk much about that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was the podcast today in South Africa, in Cape Town, as you've heard. And if you have any questions, please just send us a comment or a question via our own email address, which is the equityrevolution@gmail.com. Let me repeat, equityrevolution@gmail. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let's conclude this by saying it was nice to have you, sir. And this was Zuki Sanante from the Equity Revolution podcast under the production of the ZN Studios.
All I'm saying.